This video looks at how to define outliers and how to find them. So an outlier is anything that falls outside of the lower fence and the upper fence. The lower fence is found by taking the first quartile mark and minusing 1.5 times Q3 times Q1. This is called the IQR, or the inner quartile range. The upper fence is Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR. For this data set, I'm going to quickly find my first and third quarter mark. I have 7 numbers, so if I do 7 divided by 2, that's 3 with the remainder of 1, so splitting this in half. 6 is my median, and it looks like my lower half of numbers is 1, 5, and 5. My upper half of numbers here is 8, 10, and 12. And the reason why I'm doing this is Q1, my first quartile mark, is the median of the lower half, and my third quartile mark, Q3, will be the median of the upper half. So in the lower half, looking at the middle number, my first quartile is 5, upper half, middle number. My third quartile is 10. So I'm going to find these fences. Let's start with the lower fence. I'm going to take Q1, 5, minus 1.5 times Q3, 10, minus Q1, 5. 10 minus 5 is 5. 5 times 1.5 is 7.5. So my lower fence is 5 minus 7.5, which gives me negative 2.5. What this means, if the value is smaller than my lower fence, so if it's smaller than negative 2.5, it's going to be considered an outlier. Upper fence. Third quarter, 10, plus 1.5 times third quartile, 10, minus the first quartile, 5. So I will be adding and subtracting the same amount here. 10 plus 1.5 times, because it'll be the same inner quartile range of 5. And 5 times 1.5 still gives me 7.5. 10 plus 7.5 gives me an upper fence of 17.5. So again, what this means is if I have a value that is between my upper fence and my lower fence, then this is considered to be not an outlier. And if it's outside of the fences, it's an outlier. Now, we were going to check about x equals 12. I'm noticing that x equals 12 is between negative 2.5 and 17.5. So x equals 12 is not an outlier. If I was asked about the value 18, 18 would be an outlier, it's too big. Negative 5, that would be an outlier, it's too small. 0, that would not be an outlier, it's between those values. So this gives me just kind of a fast way of checking what's okay and what's not okay. And again, I do so by calculating both the upper fence and the lower fence.